In the headlines, bandits kill resident, injure 2 others, rustle 40 cows in Kano. Experts warn against blind reliance on U.S. military in fighting insecurity. NDLEA arrest ex-convict, 3 others over UK-bound cocaine. And on the foreign scene, parliamentary elections record low turnout in Ivory Coast. Hello and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Mariam Idris. Armed bandits have attacked Goran-Dutse, a village in Shanono local government area of Kano State, killing 1 person, injuring 2 others, and rustling more than 40 cows. A resident of the community, Muhammad Commander, told our correspondent that the attack occurred at about 11 p.m. on Saturday. Commander said the assailant stormed the village and targeted 2 houses during the operation. He added that the 2 injured victims were rushed to a hospital for medical treatment. The resident further disclosed that 5 people were still unaccounted for after the attack, raising fears that the fleeing bandits may have abducted them. He, however, commended the swift response of security forces, noting that their intervention helped repel the attackers. As of the time of filing this report, the Kano State Police Command had yet to officially confirm the incident. However, the command's police public relations officer, CSP Abdullahi Haruna Kiyawa, told our correspondent that details would be made public once the attack is formally verified. Now, kidnappers of 28 travelers abducted last Sunday in Zak community, Bashir district, Wase local government area of Plateau State, are insisting on a ransom of 1.5 million per adult victim. The victims, including men, women, and children, were traveling to Sabanlayi to attend a Maulud event when their vehicle was intercepted and they were taken to the kidnappers' hideout. Relatives of said the kidnappers first contacted them on Tuesday, demanding 1.5 million per person, a sum they could not afford. The kidnappers reportedly called again on Sunday, reiterating their demand. Wase local government chairman Muhammad Hamisu confirmed that helicopters and soldiers have been deployed to locate the victims, while the Plateau State Police said intelligence-driven teams are actively working to rescue them and apprehend the perpetrators. Relatives continue to plead for the safe release of their loved ones, citing their inability to meet the ransom due to financial constraints. Now, troops of the Joint Task Force, JTF, Farurua, have rescued a kidnapped victim during a security operation along the Kano-Katsina border. The operation was carried out in the early hours of Sunday, December 28, 2025, following credible intelligence on the movement of armed bandits from Daurawa and Kira areas of Katsina State into Kano State. According to the Army Public Relations Officer of 3 Brigade, Major Babatunde Zubairu, troops from the Forward Operating Base, Yankwada, safely mobilized a fighting patrol to intercept the suspect along the border axis. He said the troops engaged the bandits at Ungwandogo and Ungwantudu communities, leading to a fierce exchange of gunfire. During the operation, 1 kidnapped victim, Rabiu Alhaji Halilu, 38, was rescued. He sustained a gunshot wound to the leg during captivity and was immediately evacuated to the JTF Farurua Medical Center, where he is receiving treatment. Troops also recovered 3 motorcycles abandoned by the fleeing bandits, 2 mobile phones, and an unspecified number of cattle suspected to have been rustled. Major Zubairu said troops remain on high alert with sustained patrols and surveillance ongoing to prevent further criminal activities in the area. He urged residents to continue providing timely and credible information to support ongoing security operations. Now, experts have expressed caution over Nigeria's collaboration with the United States in recent airstrike on terrorist targets in northwest Nigeria, warning that such operations could carry unintended consequences. Ahmad Ismail, a diplomacy expert, urged the federal government to approach joint military operations with care in an exclusive interview with Daily Post. He noted that the U.S. does not intervene purely out of goodwill and questioned the government's handling of the operation. Similarly, retired security officer Captain Abdullahi Bakoji highlighted both the advantages and risks of airstrike. He warned that foreign military involvement could be perceived as interference, potentially fueling insurgent propaganda aimed at convincing youth that the United States seeks to take over Nigeria. Bakoji also stressed that the dangers posed to civilians. The U.S. Department of War released a video on social media on Friday, 26 December, showing the strike on Jabo in Tambuwal local government area of Sokoto State. The attack followed comments by former U.S. President Donald Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who cited the killing of Christians in Nigeria and warned that tougher action would follow if the violence persisted. Trump, acting as commander-in-chief, claimed that U.S. forces carried out a decisive military operation against ISIS fighters in northwest Nigeria, describing the group's attacks on mainly Christian communities as severe and long-standing. Now, the presidency has announced that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has departed Lagos for Europe. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, told this in a statement issued on Sunday. Now, according to Onanuga, President Tinubu will continue his end-of-the-year break in Europe before proceeding on an official trip to Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. While in Abu Dhabi, the president is expected to participate in Abu Dhabi's Sustainability Week, ADSW, a week-long annual summit that brings together global leaders from government, business, and civil society to discuss pathways to sustainable development. This year's summit is themed The Nexus of Next. All systems go and will focus on linking ambition with action across innovation, finance, and human capital, highlighting practical solutions for advancing global sustainability goals. Onanuga said the forum provides a platform for world leaders to exchange ideas and showcase initiatives aimed at building a more resilient and sustainable future. The president is expected to return to Nigeria after conclusion of the summit. Now, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has sued the 35 state governors, including the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, over their alleged failure to account for about 14 trillion naira realized as fuel subsidy savings. The Deputy Director of SERAP, Kolowole Oluwadare, disclosed this in a statement on Sunday. Oluwadare said other respondents in the suit include the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. According to SERAP, the governors and the FCT minister have collected trillions of naira as increased allocations from the Federal Account Allocation Committee, FAC, following the removal of fuel subsidy in May 2023. However, the organization alleged that the funds have not translated into improved access to quality health care, education, and other basic services for poor and vulnerable Nigerians. The right group is urging the court to order the respondents to disclose details of how the increased FAC allocations described as fuel subsidy savings have been spent since mid-2023. It is also seeking an order compelling the governors and Mr. Wike to disclose details and locations of projects executed, if any, with increased allocations. In the suit filed by its lawyers, Oluwakemi Agunbayade and Valentina Adegoke, Serap argued that the Federation Account Allocation Committee distributed 28.78 trillion naira in 2024 to the 3 tiers of government from fuel subsidy removal, representing a 79% increase compared to the previous year. This is the news update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. NDLEA arrest ex-convict, 3 orders over UK-bound cocaine. More news when we return. Just stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news update on Trust TV. Now let's take a recap of our major stories again. Bandits kill residents, injure 2 others, rustle 40 cows in Kano. Experts warn against blind reliance on U.S. military in fighting insecurity. Now moving on to more stories. The political landscape in Rivers State is heating up as a cold war between the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and Governor Siminalayi Fubara shows no sign of easing despite earlier peace interventions. The minister has now signaled a definitive resumption of full-scale political maneuvers and the state. The report.
The lingering political crisis in Rivers State appears far from over. Over the weekend, indications emerged that the much talk about peace deal between FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and Governor Siminalayi Fubara remains fragile. During a briefing with stakeholders from Hawada East and West local government areas, the minister sent a strong message to his detractors, declaring that the political vacation will end in January 2026.
What I want to advise us politicians, if you know you cannot abide to any agreement, don't go into it. Don't go into it. If you know anything you will not do, don't go into it. Don't come and say, oh, I was playing wayo. It will catch you up. Anything I will not do, I will tell you this one, I will not do this. When I agree with something, I go into it. So people should keep to what they have agreed. The peace time. That's what brings peace. But when you not think you are clever by half, you think you can play everybody, it won't work. It will not work.
Speaking at a Thanksgiving service in Ochigba community, Wike did not hold back. He criticized unnamed individuals he described as political opportunists, now claiming loyalty to President Bola Tinubu. He questioned where these individuals were during the 2023 general elections, accusing them of hiding, while he and his team worked tirelessly to secure the president's victory.
Everybody is jumping now. On your mandate we start. I don't have problem about that. We have shattered it in 2023. We are the planters of Asuwaju. When you are talking about Asuwaju, they took it to court. Now because opposition have collapsed by their own making, everybody starts saying, on your mandate we shall stand. Stand on the mandate when it is hot, not when food is done.
Without naming names, the minister lamented that some who are now benefiting from the current administration's successes were absent during the campaign trenches. Addressing state politics, Wike emphasized that the sanctity of political agreements, noting that his refusal to compromise on paths has made him a target for criticism, with attacks on his personality becoming a lucrative business in Rivers State.
If you want to make money in Rivers today, I don't know how you made the mistake of announcing that there was 600-something billion naira. That mistake you made by announcing that have placed some politicians from other states. I know them. They will not tell somebody here, this will get enough is enough, they collect. Don't worry, Wicked, his own time is finished, they collect.
Despite the ongoing local friction, the FCT minister reaffirmed his commitment to the renewed Hope mandate, insisting that his camp remains the main pillar of support for President Bola Tinubu in Rivers State. As the countdown to January 2026 begins, Rivers State's political actors are bracing for a renewed showdown, with alliances tested and criticism mounting. The stage is set for a defining period in the state's political landscape.
Moving on, operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, have arrested a 37-year-old ex-convict, Nwogbodo Chidebere Basil, along with 3 cargo agents over an attempt to export cocaine concealed in liquid starch sachets to the United Kingdom. Disclosing this in a statement on Sunday, NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi said the arrest followed the seizure of 75 parcels of cocaine weighing 1.50 kilograms at the export shed of the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Ikeja, Lagos. According to him, 3 cargo agents, Jubil Firdausi Hassana, Kuku Daniel Oluwasegun, and Igwe Chioma Jane, were arrested on December 20th during the initial operation. Further investigations led to the arrest of Nwogbodo the following day at a relaxation center in Ikeja. Babafemi revealed that NDLEA records showed Nwogbodo was previously arrested in May 2023 in connection with a seizure of 30.10 kilograms of methamphetamine concealed in powdered custard containers and destined for London. In a related development, NDLEA operatives also arrested a 65-year-old driver in Gombe State with quantities of pentazocine injections and tramadol pills. Similarly, a 47-year-old businessman, Ignatius Egbochie, also known as Brown, has been arrested in Lagos in connection with an earlier seizure of 56 parcels of loud, a strong strain of cannabis weighing 26 kilograms at the Tinkan seaport. Reminiscing women's hairstyles from over 100 years ago, hair entrepreneur Happiness Okori is turning tradition into opportunity by studying authentic styles. She ensures that Black women's hair is cared for, promoting health, both physically and psychologically. Take a look.
In Enugu, southeastern Nigeria, Okori is a leading figure in Africa's fast-growing natural hair industry. After suffering scalp burns from harsh relaxers, she taught herself to nurture and embrace her natural curls. Her passion soon became known at the multinational telecommunication company where she worked. Today, that passion has evolved into Fuzzy Hairports, an 18-seater hair spa in Enugu run almost entirely by women. The salon is now a standout success in Nigeria's beauty and cosmetic industry.
We're changing the narrative, right? We're trying to bring back those hairstyles that typically a young girl will not want to wear because, oh my God, I want to look a certain way. So we're revolutionizing how women see certain hairstyles because truly, if our mothers wore these hairstyles, there's nothing wrong with us preserving that heritage.
For Okori, her business is not only about cultural preservation, it's also about encouraging healthy lifestyles. She has transformed a market gap and a global health concern into a model of Africa's entrepreneurship, turning a once dismissed hobby into one of southeastern Nigeria's most successful hair ventures.
I noticed that for every time I go for relaxers, I come back with a burnt scalp. And I kept thinking it was just a normal thing. Your scalp have to, get burnt and all of that until the whole natural hair movement started. And I saw a few men with natural hair, but I just didn't understand it. So at the time, I told my hairstylist to think about the natural hair thing, that it looks like it's becoming very popular. But he was like, no, never. Women will never want to wear their natural hair.
Natural hair is increasingly embraced in Nigeria as more people become aware of the dangers of relaxers. For Okori, her journey highlights both personal and societal victories, a reminder that one woman's entrepreneurial vision can transform an industry and inspire generations of African women to embrace their natural beauty.
In business, the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, Bayo Ojulari, has assured Nigerians that the ongoing price competition in the downstream petroleum sector will ultimately benefit consumers. Ojulari described the current market tensions as a natural outcome of Nigeria's transition from heavy reliance on fuel imports to increased domestic refining capacity. He made the remarks on Sunday amid an intense price war in the petroleum market, which has seen petrol prices fall sharply from over 1,200 naira per litre in November 2024 to as low as 739 naira per litre at some retail outlets in December 2025. The price drop is largely driven by competition among Dangote Refinery, NNPCL and independent marketers. Clarifying NNPCL's role in the deregulated market, Ojulari emphasized that the company no longer determines fuel prices or regulates the sector under the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. Ojulari stressed that the PIA repositioned NNPCL as a fully commercial entity required to operate profitably and competitively like any other business. He further disclosed that NNPCL no longer receives allocations from the Federation account and must now raise its own financing independently, in line with global best practices for national oil companies. Away from Nigeria, the African Union, AU, and several countries have condemned Israel's recognition of Somaliland as an independent state, rejecting any attempt to legitimize the secessionist region and reaffirming their unwavering support for Somalia's unity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity. Israel became the first country to formally recognize Somaliland, a breakaway region of Somalia that declared independence in 1991. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the move will pave the way for expanded cooperation in agriculture, health, and technology. Somaliland President Abdurrahman Mohamed Abdullahi described the development as a historic moment, adding that Somaliland will join the Abraham Accords as a step toward regional and global peace. Abdullahi said Somaliland was committed to building partnerships, promoting stability and boosting mutual prosperity across the Middle East and Africa. Analyst says Israel recognition could encourage other countries to follow suit, potentially enhancing Somaliland's diplomatic standing and access to international markets. However, the African Union firmly rejected the move. In a statement, the chairperson of the AU Commission, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, said the organization had unequivocally reaffirmed its commitment to the principle of respecting the inviolability of borders inherited at independence. Somalia's Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre said the country categorically and unequivocally rejected what he described as a deliberate attack on Somalia's sovereignty. The decision has also been condemned by the foreign ministers of Somalia, Egypt, Turkey, and Djibouti. In a joint statement, the countries expressed their total rejection of Israel's announcement. Still on the foreign scene, voting ended on Saturday in Ivory Coast parliamentary elections, with the exercise recording low voter turnout following a boycott by opposition parties. The poll came 2 months after President Alassane Ouattara secured another term in office, extending his 14-year rule. In parts of Abidjan, including Yopougon and Plateau districts, turnout was particularly poor, with fewer than 100 voters casting ballots out of about 400 registered at several polling units. The Independent Electoral Commission, CEI, announced earlier Sunday that provisional voter turnout stood at 32.35%, down from 37.88% recorded during the 2021 legislative elections. More than 8 million Ivorians were eligible to vote for members of the National Assembly, where the ruling party currently holds a majority. Elections in Ivory Coast have often been marked by political tension and sporadic violence. Authorities maintained the deployment of over 40,000 security personnel earlier used during the October presidential elections. By midday, voter participation remained low at several polling stations in Abidjan's Cocody and Yopougon districts, with some booths recording as few as 20 voters. President Ouattara's rally of Huefetists for Democracy and Peace, RHDP, controls the 255-seat National Assembly, which is elected every 5 years. Candidates in the latest poll include Prime Minister Robert Birger Mambe and Defense Minister Tene Birahima Ouattara, the president's younger brother. With that, we've come to the end of the news update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and also join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Maria Medris. Thank you for watching.